The Burrows of Berea podcast.
Welcome back to the Burrows of Berea. I am Rick Welch, and boy, do I have a special guest for you. My, what shall we call you? My holistic nutritional life coach, the Texas Countess herself, MarChessa Taylor. Hey, MarChessa.
Hey Rick. Hey
Uh,
everybody. So glad to be here.
yes, you've been on before and you shared your testimony, but we have a very different episode today. This is an exciting one that you and I have been working on for quite a while, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to share my screen. I want everybody to see what today is about, and then you're going to hear some whoop whooping up in here. Whoop whoop. I have lost over 100 pounds. I've actually lost 101 now. And it's all thanks to my special dear friend, Marchessa. If you remember, we went to the Berean Bible Church Conference. This was in, I believe it was early April of 2024.
2024.
And I was sitting at the table and I was eating some junk. And you came up as always and sat and we just were chatting. We love seeing one another. And I told you that I was tired of feeling the way that I felt like I was in a prison that I couldn't escape, which was my body. I was always lethargic. I was on blood pressure medication, acid reflux medication. My joints were always sore. I felt like my head was going to pop off my shoulders. I felt trapped and I ate my feelings. I did all kinds of things. And you said, I could help you with that. And I had no idea. I had no idea that you did it. And then you just started telling me about the way that you have worked with some of your clients and helped them not only just lose weight, but to look at eating and exercising and living life in a completely, whole new way. And really, it's about life change, changing your life, right?
All of it's about living a different kind of life. Your best life is the way I put it. And to be able to do that, you have to feel better
Mm-hmm.
for longer periods of time. I mean, a lot of people think, well, I do okay. Yeah, but do you feel good?
Mm-hmm.
It has the way you feel affected your attitude? Has it affected your lifestyle?
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to go and do the things that you used to do? And it doesn't matter what age you are either. This can creep up on you, and then the next thing you know, you're avoiding what you used to consider your everyday. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you and I met, um, I shared with you some basic things about what I had done with other people. And some of the things that had happened with them were everything from blood sugar issues to even cancer, and some other illnesses and injury, things that people had dealt with over the years. But weight loss and working on the nutrition of the body has to be where a person has to start. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason being is because, it's not what everybody sees on the outside as who we really are. It's what's on the inside. And we know
Mm-hmm.
that in a spiritual sense as well as a physical sense.
Yeah, that's a part of this too that I want the audience to understand is that there is a spiritual side to this, in this kind of, and really it's working together. I don't call it a treatment program. It's working together. We meet twice a month and we set our schedule and we have a Zoom call and we sit and we talk to one another. And you asked me about what's going on in life. It's not just about what I'm eating, or you're asking about all things like how are things at work? How are things with Holly? How are things with the family? How are things with your sleep schedule? How are you, are you able to get out and walk around some? And if you're not, like I have a sedentary job, so I sit at my desk all day. And so you were telling me about different aspects of it, like, hey, just can you get up and walk around for 5 to 10 minutes and just break up the monotony of it? And it's just a whole approach to just living all the time. And then we pray together. You pray before we start. Usually you come in already loaded. The Lord's already told you what's up for the day. And how many times have we talked where it was just perfectly aligned with what's going on at the time? And we've been through some tough times. That's another thing that I want to talk about. Having somebody like you that I can talk to that um, understands life happens, and sometimes that affects your diet or affects your exercise capability. Like
Right,
Hurricane Helene, for example. I mean, that
right.
changed everything. But and also having someone to hold you accountable. And you're not mean, but sometimes you're like, hey, let's no, no, let's back up a little bit. But it's good to have somebody that's to be held accountable to. But I think the reason why I was so successful is because I just genuinely looked forward to talking to you, and I got passionate about what was actually happening. I was learning about food and what it does. I was learning about, the balance of the way that we eat, and then getting the results, but also feeling better. I mean, I'll never forget whenever I woke up one day after a nice long night of sleep because I did your little trick with the cherries and the pistachios. And I mean, it works. And, but not feeling joint pain. Like that was huge. I
Right.
was like, wow, like I actually feel like going and doing something today. Whereas before, I didn't want to get off the couch. I just, I was we always called it putting a rear end. I put a rear end in my recliner every night,
Right.
but yeah, and that's what I wanted to share with everybody is that yes, it requires discipline. It does. It requires some hard work. You have to tell yourself no, but having somebody that you can talk to on a regular basis who in how many you just saw us do the woot woot, we do it every time. If even if it's 0.5 pounds, we're achieving something.
And what did we do when we didn't lose 1 week?
I don't remember. We did I think it was I don't remember. I think that maybe I know that you told me it's okay. Things like this happen. We're gonna lose next time. We're gonna keep going. We might have even woot wooted anyway because of something else, because we measured, right?
Right. We did measure and we found that you had lost a couple of inches anyway.
That's right.
And as I said before, what we do is not always on the outside.
Hmm.
I believe that working with people the way that I do, a holistic approach is the only way to help someone get further along in their health process.
Hmm.
Um, it's our mind. There's a lot of companies that set up themselves as mind body gurus, but it is a
Hmm.
mind body both spiritually and physically.
Hmm.
So sometimes we're not in the right place physically because we're not in the right place spiritually,
Hmm.
or mentally. It can be something mental that's going on or emotionally. And so these are all parts of oneself that you have to examine and re-examine again. But
Hmm.
also the education aspect of it, to look into what have people taught in the past, what works, what doesn't work, what
Hmm.
stays the same. For example, I know we talked about one day about how you can read the whole body processes on the tongue.
Right.
And you go to the doctor and they always want to look at your tongue and you're like, are they looking at my throat? What are they? I know they're not looking at my teeth. I've got a dentist for that, but what are they looking for and what are they looking at? And I taught you that every single part of the tongue has something to do with showing you how your body is working currently. And
Hmm.
it's the same way with other parts of our body too. It can tell us signs and signals that are going on.
Hmm.
Having said that, we can get all the education we want a lot of times off of looking at the internet, looking at different websites and stuff like that. But if you have someone like a coach like myself who can look at those things, um, learn that education, and then explain it to you, how does this help me?
Hmm.
How does this part over here, if I would apply that to myself, how is that helping me on my health journey? And
Right.
that's what we've been doing all along also, is talking about different parts of the human body that will react to just small changes. And my biggest thing to anyone is that small changes will make a big impact. If you're
Hmm.
waiting patiently, just keep doing them. And I was telling you when we first started, I said, you've got the opportunity. You can do one, two, or three changes per month. Say, for example, 1 year's time, that's 12 months, that's 36 changes by the end of
Hmm.
that year. And we've been
Yes.
working a little over a year now. And
Hmm.
so you can see how many changes you've already made. And I've even quizzed you some days and just
Hmm.
said, okay, what do you think that you've changed lately that's made a difference?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, throughout, and it's been a year and a half. Can you believe it? It's been a year and a half.
I know it's
And
awesome.
I know it's wild, 100 pounds in a year and a half. And one of the things that we would do maybe once a quarter, you would quiz me on the things that we've learned in that quarter, or even all the way back from the beginning. Like, um, for example, how much protein do I want to take in at the size that I'm in, or how much do I want to walk, or how much water should I intake, or what should I add to my water that can be helpful, things that can spruce up your food, different types of oils. Why do we choose these oils over the other oils? And what are the natural, benefits to doing, for example, cold pressed oils? Excuse me. So that I think that's the biggest thing is that when you go online, you get so much information. And what the benefit of having you, Marchessa, is that you've already done that for over the last however many years you've been studying this. You've got all of the books, from the past, Eat Right for Your Type or South Beach Diet or whatever the one was, paleo, and you've read
Oh,
through all of them. You've looked at all the different things and you've said, this is good. Now this is outdated. This is not good. We're moving this. Eggs are still okay. You know?
yeah, eggs are still okay and coffee is still okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Although,
exactly.
although for some people, I may recommend that we get a coffee substitute for a
Mm-hmm.
while.
Mm-hmm.
It's it really is a matter of this may not be so great for you. This over here might be a better alternative. Let's try that and let's work that. Let's work that in our program here to see if this is working for you. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things I want to emphasize though is that every person that comes to me, I'm going to look at them as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
If a person says, I really like to jog, then jogging it is.
Mm-hmm.
But we may want to switch it up as to where they go, or
Right.
with whom they go. Or we may want to just get them some new jogging clothes so that they get more excited about what they're going to be participating in. It doesn't change who you are. That's the whole thing about this. It's the individual we're talking to. It's what they want to accomplish. And I've had people say at different times, um, I don't want to do that assignment.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, of course.
And or I just didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
I
would
did that a few times. I did that a few. Yeah, I didn't do it.
yeah.
I didn't do it.
But it wasn't that big of a deal. But the
Yeah.
reason for my asking for that particular assignment at that time was to open up the possibility that that particular assignment was going to help you get through what you were dealing with at that time,
Mm-hmm. Right.
whether it be, interactions with other people, something with your job, something you do daily at home, what have you. And so,
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that I want to tell people as well, because I have a lot of people reach out to me via email or text, or they'll call me. I've had numerous people call me. What's your secret? It's always like, what's the secret? And I hate to say it this way, like the reason why I chose to go with Marchessa was because I was uneducated about how all of this stuff works. I have read online, I've been confused, I've tried all kinds of different fad diets. I've actually lost weight in the past. My problem has always been learning how to maintain that. And so there are different, there are different parts of this as we progress. Like we already know, I've got another 20 or really 19 pounds to go before we change my diet and we start altering the way that we do this to maintain. So I can't just say, well, it's diet and exercise. That is true, but there's also different aspects about the way that my diet has been set up for me, and it may not be the same for someone else,
Right.
depending on their age or whatever malady they may have, like or illness they may have. And so it's not just a one and done, here's how you do it. And I know, trust me, I'm the guy that used to want the easy answer, like what can I do? It's it, it's hard. It is. But once you get started and you begin to see the progression, it becomes way easier. You actually get excited about what you're learning. And then when you put it into practice and you start feeling better and you start noticing the pounds coming off. I mean, and we did it really slow. I mean, 1 to 2 pounds on purpose, we went slow.
Right.
Doing a crash fad diet to lose a lot of weight. What I've learned is that you gain it back plus. That has been true for me. And so I didn't want to do that. I wanted to learn because once I get to my target and then we start changing up the diet, I'm going to be learning how to live. This is how I'm going to be living in order to maintain health. So there isn't an easy answer. So when I tell people like just go to MarChessa, it's not because I'm trying to avoid it. It's because I don't have time to sit down and go through all of the things that we've learned. And if somebody says, well, it's too expensive. No, it's not actually. You're not expensive at all. As a matter of fact, when I consider how much money I spent in garbage food or garbage stuff, um,
How
you're
about the
actually,
how about the clothes even? The
yeah.
the clothes are even more expensive, and
Mm-hmm.
and not being able to go to places you want to go, not being able to be involved in things you want to be involved in
Mm-hmm.
because of how you feel about yourself. Um,
Yes,
when you are doing this, you're investing in yourself.
that's it.
You're
It's an
investing
investment
in,
in you.
yes, it's an investment in yourself. And my prices aren't anywhere close to a lot of people I know.
Yes.
Um, so, and you haven't talked about this a whole lot yet, but mine is a faith-based business. I
Mm-hmm.
asked the Lord what He wanted me to have my business be called. Avalon actually means paradise.
Mm-hmm.
So Avalon Wellness is an Eden of information, education, motivation to help you be um, in that garden experience again. I know
Right.
that sounds kind of crazy to some people, but it's um, it's directed by the Lord. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said before, I get prayed up before you call me. I get prayed
Mm-hmm.
up before we visit. We're doing this together because this is what we're being led to do. It's not just happenstance. Um, and there's sometimes when you feel like your mind is an absolute blank.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then you pray for that person and you pray for the meetup. And then all of a sudden it's like I say something and you go, how in the world would you have known that?
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
exactly.
said I didn't a half hour ago.
All right, here's my secret. I've been pretending to be a kitchen genius. Pans clanging, timers dinging, me yelling stuff like, chef's kiss. But in reality, it's all thanks to my secret ingredient. So let me break it down for you. First up, everything seasoning. And yes, I mean everything. And it delivers. Chicken, nailed it. Fish, incredible. Veggies, now there's your chef's kiss. Mashed potatoes, don't even get me started. And look, I've even pushed the limits with this stuff. I sprinkled it on popcorn. Amazing. I even tried it on squirrel. Do I regret it? Absolutely. Trust me, everything seasoning makes everything better, whether you're cooking gourmet or going a little off-road. Now, the main event, steakhouse seasoning. This isn't just seasoning, it's grill dominance in a jar. You hit a steak with this stuff, and suddenly you're channeling your inner Hank. Who's Hank, you ask? Hank's that flannel-wearing, boot-stomping, truck-driving king of the grill. He can chop down trees with his bare hands and grills a T-bone so good you'll want to slap Gordon Ramsay's mama right in the mouth. I grilled burgers with Steakhouse last weekend, and my buddy goes, man, I really need this recipe. And I shot him. No, I just told him that I'd leave it in my will. So if you're ready to cook like a legend and keep your secret weapon close, head to mysecretblends.com. That's www.mysecretblends.com and use code BURROWS, that's BURROS, at checkout for 20% off of your first order. So shake it, serve it, and when they ask you, just smile and say, it's my little secret, my secret ingredient. Get it today at www.mysecretblends.com and use BURROWS to get 20% off of your first order.
Yeah. Oh, and that made me think of something else. One of the things that, people think when you're dealing with like a holistic life coach is that, oh, they're just trying to get away from Western medicine and they don't believe in doctors and all that. That's not actually true. I get labs and reports and I still visit my doctor like I'm supposed to. And we look at those labs and we talk about them together. And you don't necessarily argue with the doctor. You might have some, instead of getting a prescription for something, you might have a way to change some dietary, some nutrition that could be, helpful, and then we can monitor it. But that's the other side of this. You can still go to your doctor, you still live your life, you do things normally. It's really just training yourself how to look at food. That's a big one for me. Okay. Like I'll give one of your lessons away just real quick. So this is a freebie, guys. But you had told me, you're like, Rick, when you sit down at the table, when you prepare your plate, I want you to look at it and I want you to ask yourself the question, are you actually hungry? And then you were like, even say it out loud, am I hungry? Because I was training my brain. And at first when you said it, I was like, I've heard of this. I've heard of people saying things out loud. And then I thought, you know what? Everything that we've done so far has worked. I'm going to do it. And guess what? It did. Because even even Holly will tell you that I'll say it out loud, like, am I really hungry right now? And I've actually got up and I said, I'm not hungry right now. I don't want to eat because it's time to eat. I want to eat because my body needs nourishment and it's telling me so. Or to make a plate, right? I'm giving away that one lesson. Sorry, everybody else, you got to
It's
pay for
okay.
it. You got to pay for it, guys. But with that lesson, it was like, instead of, let's talk about portion control, and let's say that you've put this on your plate, you think that's what you're going to eat, and eat 2/3 of it, and then get up and get away from the table for a minute and just let your body digest and see how you feel. If you're still hungry, go back. And that's okay if you're still hungry. But if you're not, don't. And that was cool because you want to know what? You want to know what the percentage was that I didn't go back? 100%. 100%
Yay.
of the time, I was putting too much, right? I was putting too much on my plate. My brain was more hungrier than I actually was. And I was training myself to say, okay, what is it that I really want to do? When I get together with friends, or for example, my mother-in-law is banging in the kitchen. Like, this woman knows how to throw down, and she makes big meals at least once a month, sometimes twice a month with the whole family. And she has a smorgasbord of options. And most of the time, they are high carb. They're pastas, they're breads, you know, they're not really, it's like mac and cheese and mashed potatoes and all of the starches and stuff. And I told you, like, there are times whenever I go there and I think, man, like, I don't want to hurt my mother-in-law's feelings. She's such a great cook and she's doing this for us and she loves us. And you were like, could you talk to her about what you're doing? Could you just mention to her what you're doing? Like, right now, I'm flexitarian and so I can eat things, but right now I'm really focusing more on like the carnivore side of this, more paleo and then some greens. And you know what? I did talk to her, and all of a sudden, she's got like a meat and green veggies along with all of the other things because she wanted me to feel, to be able to eat. And so it's just making that, even that little change, it meant so much to me that she thought of me that way, that I could talk to her about it. And she
Mhm.
has been doing nothing but being supportive of this, ever since, seeing, because today, I'm not taking any medications. My doctor has literally said, you don't need blood pressure medication. You don't need your acid reflux medication. Those proton pump inhibitors are bad for you anyway, so let's get rid of them. This is great. I went into the doctor after I did a 4-mile walk in the morning. I love to walk. It's one of my favorite things. And so I went out. It was beautiful outside. It's fall. I'm walking. I walked 4 miles and I looked at my watch. I was like, oh man, I got to get to my doctor. And so I ran back to my car and I got to my doctor and I ran up the stairs and I get there right on time and they bring me in and they check my blood pressure. And normally when I go to the doctor, my blood pressure is always elevated. Always has been. I don't know if it's because I'm of anxiety or what. My blood pressure was 120 over 81. I'm a 50-year-old man. And
That's awesome.
120 over 81? Are you kidding me? And that, I mean, that's like textbook. And so, and that was after all of that movement and moving around. And so, but remember this, MarChessa, do you remember when I told you that I met with the doctor and my doctor was like, ooh, your cholesterol is off the charts and you're a 9% candidate for heart attack. And I remember me
Yes.
telling you that. And I was like, that's unnerving a little bit. And you're like, we can work with that. We can work with that. So we started altering my diet so that we could start lowering some of those cholesterol numbers. And sure as the world, I went in there and I got the check mark. All cholesterol levels are perfect. And I was like, this is really where we really are what we eat. We are. And
Yes.
so it's worth the time, it's worth the money, it's worth the effort to get somebody that knows what they're talking about in regard to your food, in regard to your exercise, in regard to your just healthy well-being, your sleeping and everything, to help educate you so that from now on, you don't have to go online and try to figure it out. You do it. And
Right.
the other thing I'll say, Marchessa, I'm sorry I've been talking the whole time. I'm excited. I've
Mhm.
lost 101 pounds. I mean,
I'm excited.
yeah, I know. I'm so excited. But the reality
I
is,
think one of the things you asked me was when I first told you how much I weighed,
hmm
did you think I would lose the pounds? And I
hmm
said, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and part of that was Kyle. As a matter of fact, after your husband Kyle was at the conference, and I remember going up to the front to get my one of my, I had to get a key remade or something for my room, and he was standing there. And I said, I just talked with Marchessa about her, this life coaching, and I'm very interested. I think I'm going to, talk to her more. And he said, I lost 70 pounds. And I was like, what? Like 70 pounds? Wow. So when I got to 71 pounds, I sent you a text to tell Kyle that I beat him by 1 pound. But no,
Rub
I
it
mean, but
in.
yeah, but in all joking aside, I mean, seeing that he had done it, it helps to see. And that's what I want people to know. Like, I'm nobody special, honestly, when it comes to this. Like, I am just like anybody else. I just, I set my mind to it because I was turning 50 and I wanted to give myself a really cool birthday present. I wanted to be healthy. That was something that mattered to me. And my wife is, 11 years younger than me. And so, and men typically die before their wives, right? Anyway, and I thought, nah, I'm going to stick around. I'm going to make
Okay,
myself healthy.
and tell them that she got on board.
She did. So because I was learning, you were sending me all of these awesome recipes that were catered to my diet. And so I took over the cooking here, and my wife's a great cook, but she cooks a lot like her mother. And so which is awesome, by the way. It's delicious, but it wasn't catered to what I needed to do in order to lose fat. And so because I had all of this, I said, I'll take over the cooking. And so she was like, sweet, do it. And so she just started following along with what I was doing, and she's lost 44 pounds. And
Yay.
that's just, yeah, whoop, whoop,
Woof, woof,
just
woof, woof.
together. And that also helped me, by the way, as having a spouse that was on board with me, changing my life and getting healthy and getting on board with me, and doing that. And she had some challenges along the way, with her own surgeries and things. But she stuck with it and she stuck with me. And yeah, so we're both a lot healthier. She's now at her maintenance level. She's very happy. And um, I'm not. I'm still on fire, like losing some weight. But yeah, I mean, I think that if anybody who is listening to this wants to lose weight, first of all, I'm going to leave a link in the show notes for you to get in contact with Marchessa yourself. And I'm just telling you, take the time to reach out to her and tell her why you've always had issues with losing weight or why you're afraid of it, or maybe you've done it and you failed, whatever. Talk to her and let her coach you. It works. It works.
Yes.
It does. And also let her pray with you because that is the other side of this. That our bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made, and getting to learn how to work with them. And I can't tell you, I was wearing a size 42 pant, and the other day Holly and I went to the store because I needed some pants because I had to dress nice, and all I had were these big gigantic pants, and I got a size 32 pant. And I'll be honest with you, I could have put on, I think I probably, if I wanted to, I could have bought the 30s and been in them within a week because I'm very close. So I've lost, 10, whatever you call that. Is that inches? I don't know what it is, but it's not, I guess. I went from a 42 to a 32 comfortably.
That's
And
awesome.
yes, it's
That's just
insane.
awesome. That's just
Yes.
awesome.
And so my closet weighs a lot less now. When I pull my clothes, it doesn't weigh as much. And so now I've been emptying out my closet of all the big clothes because I am done. I'm done with them. I have no intention of going back. Because I'm just going to remain mindful. And so I'm looking forward to the next however long, the 1 to 2 pounds a week that I've got with you. And I have a goal. I'm trying to get it. By the time I hit Christmas, I should be close. Um, I'd say it's pretty fair. I think I could hit it by Christmas, but if I do, then it's a whole new game. We're going to start talking about maintaining, and then I'm going to be talking about building muscle and changing the way that I eat in order to do that.
Right?
So I'm super excited about it.
And look how many people's lives you're going to touch because
Mm-hmm.
they're going to see the progression through Burrows of Berea also. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
see you before and the after as well. Um, and maybe we can get you to get some before and after pics
Yeah.
that you can also put up, and I can even add that maybe to my website.
Yeah. I am I'm your number one fan, and I push this a lot, and I'm trying to tell everybody. My wife just got home, so you're going to hear the door open, guys, and that's all cool. So, but I'm your number one fan, and I'm always pushing people that way because it's happened. This has really happened for me, and I am so excited. Hold on one second. Come on in, babe. We are recording for the Burrows of Berea, me and MarChessa.
Hi,
Yep.
Holly.
She said hi, Holly. Do what? Oh, I'll edit it out. Or I might not, guys. My wife just came home. That's life. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah,
She,
so go ahead.
well, we give God the glory for all of this.
Yes,
You
we do.
know, we were on this journey together and still are because of the things that God has done for us.
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing about this that we have not done with his guidance and his choosing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I started this business a long while back, it was important to me that people know him
Mm-hmm.
and for us to use this as a witness for him. Because I've had people come in and sit down in a chair in front of me and say, I really feel like God brought me here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's amazing to me. That's amazing because I don't do a lot of outreach because I don't want um, people that he hasn't sent. I want people to come because they feel that together with the Lord, we're going to accomplish something here. And and that's really how it's been. It's been that way through the whole time. I have always felt of this as a ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people that were assistants, excuse me, to me in the past that were also Christians, and they said, "I'm just so happy to stand along beside you." And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of how we have progressed too. We stand alongside each other. I fully am a fan of yours as well, and have been for quite some time. and and to be able to do this together and to see the progress, it is amazing. I the day that you sent me the text and said today is the 100-pound day, And I went, amazing, in great big letters, because I wanted, and then I said, woot, 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 because I
Yeah.
really do believe that all the times that we've talked, all the times that we have visited, even on days when you did need to take a good amount of time to talk about what's happening,
Mhm.
either at work or at home or whatever like that. This is life. This is not a um, kind of situation where we have to stick to the book, stick to the plan, stick to the whatever. I really believe that it's all been guided a certain way
Mhm.
because we are living on this planet. This is all
Mm.
about the journey we're living on. And so also should our healthcare be.
Absolutely. I'll say this too. This is something that I have to say, okay? So after Hurricane Helene hit us here, it was a very trying time. I mean, my wife was helping with the church locally here. She was probably working 14, 16-hour days helping at the church. And I was trying to keep my business alive at the time. The stress
Yes.
was out of this world. It just was. And even food options. Like if you trust me, guys, when you can't go to the grocery store because they're just not open and you just have like canned beans in here or whatever you got. I mean, you can make some choices, but some things you're just going to eat whatever you got to eat. And I remember, excuse me, I gained like 7 pounds and it was high cortisol levels because of stress. It was also, and you were bringing that up, like I think you need to take a breath and stop and not worry so much about the weight gain, but we need to start working on the stress. Like we need to work on that part
Hmm.
because we need to get that lowered down because your body's not going to react to anything right now. And so I was like, okay. And it took me a minute to really admit it because when you're in it to win it. Like we're strong. We can do what we got. We got the Lord on our side, but
Yes.
physiologically, our body is reacting to all this stuff and our brains
Mhm.
are just doing what it needs to do. And so you worked with me through that. And then after that, then we started having, as several months after that, then because of all of the supply chain issues and everything that was going on, it started tanking my business. That elevates the stress too.
Mhm.
And I know I can't say that she'll do this for everybody, but she did it for me. There was a time, guys, whenever I was like, I'm sorry, MarChessa, I can't do this. I literally can't afford it. I can't right now. Every dime is going into what we're doing. And you're like, we're not quitting yet. We're not quitting yet. I'm staying with you. We're going to get through this. And you did. You stayed with me until I could get back on track. And I was like, oh man, like it's just, you're not there just like with your hand out like here. You're there to put the hand on us and that man, that was huge. I love you for that because you
Oh,
got
thank
me
you.
through the hard times, and as well as I do. We've had a lot of tragedy in our family this whole
Yeah.
year and we've had so many deaths, of
Yeah.
old and young and man, there's so many things that happen in life that can get you derailed. But if the Lord's at the center of it, then
Mhm.
we're going to bring that to the Lord anyway. So this is just all part of it. We're all of this stays, you know, yeah. When you go to I remember when you go to a family gathering because somebody's there because of a death, a lot of people bring food. And when they do, it's usually sweets. A lot of it is just like
Oh, I
nonstop
know.
sweets. And I remember I was with my brother-in-law and I was just sitting there and I was like, you know what? He's eating cake and he offered me a piece. And I was just like, I'm not going to say no right now. I'm going to sit here and be in the moment with him and we're going to sit here and talk. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I just know what I'm going to do tomorrow. It's okay, Rick. Just let it go. And I have MarChessa in the back of my mind. Hey, sometimes being in the moment is more important. Just, it's okay.
Yes, exactly.
80% of the time, sometimes it's okay. It is, and I wasn't going to be because I'm very strict on myself sometimes. Like I'm like, nope, that's not what's happening today. You're going to do this today, and I think it takes all of that to be a success. You can't be on 100% of the time. You can't do it alone. You just can't, guys. You can't do it alone. You need the Lord at the center of it, but also having somebody to cheer you on or help you when you're stressed. How many times did we have 90-minute sessions, and I know there have been times when 45 minutes of it, I was literally just talking about what was going on.
Hmm.
before, and then
Yeah,
you were like, okay, when we got to that, we prayed about it, and then we got into the lesson, and maybe we didn't get the whole lesson, but I learned something every single time. That's
right.
important. That is part of this. The reason why we're overweight for me was because of just bad habits, but also I was eating my feelings. It was, I was like, oh, I, I'm going to give myself a chocolate
Well,
cake.
there is a discovery within each person
Yeah,
as to why some habits that we have are good
sure.
habits and
Hmm.
some habits that we have are not productive habits.
Right.
And I've told you even from the very beginning, um, the things that I won't allow as a coach are I don't know and I'll
Hmm.
just try. I'll try.
Right.
I'll try that. No,
Hmm.
those are not commitment statements. And I have never said no about anything.
Hmm.
I really
Right.
haven't.
Right.
Um, it's always been important to me to be positive in regards to what a person needs.
Hmm.
Sometimes we need a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Now, having a piece of cake, if that means you're going to eat the whole cake, then I'm going to suggest to you that you don't eat cake.
Right.
I didn't say no. I just
Hmm.
said it's going to be more productive if we switch out that piece of cake with something else that you can have
Hmm.
that will still satisfy the sweet tooth, that will still work for you. And it was the same when we were talking about sleep. You were telling me you couldn't sleep, and I said, well, do you know about cherries? And do you know about pistachios? And you're like, what? And I said,
Hmm.
both contain melatonin. I
Hmm.
said, there's your food source for your sleeping pill.
Hmm. Yes.
And and so it's just a matter of just taking a little bit of information and making that information apply to what you need for that day or for that
Hmm.
week or for that habit to be established. And at first I thought it was so funny because you said I was eating the cherries and the pistachios together. And I said one or the other. And
Yeah, I
I
put them
thought it was funny.
together. The funny story is that the first time I did it, I ate the cherries and the pistachios together, and I went and I laid down in the bed and I went to sleep. And when I woke up early, Holly wasn't in the bed. And I was like, huh. And I got up and she was in the other room. And I was like, that's, huh? And so when she got up, she was like, you were sawing logs. Like you were so asleep and snoring so loud that I had to go in the other room and I could still hear you in the other room with the door shut, both doors shut. It worked. It worked. So I had to back off. I couldn't do that much together anymore. So
Yeah,
now I don't even need it. Now I'm just sleeping.
right,
Now
right.
I don't need that.
Do you ever feel like your soap is doing more harm than good? Well, I did too. Then I found Halfback Mountain Soaps. Born from one person's search for a better bar of soap, these are as pure as a mountain stream. No chemicals, no drying agents, just simple, skin loving ingredients like shea butter, olive oil, coconut oil, and castor oil. Each bar is handcrafted and scented naturally with things like lavender, cinnamon spice, and sweet lemongrass. Here is a great tip: grab 5 bars, and they will toss in a handcrafted wooden soap dish too. That dish helps your soap last longer because it dries out between uses. With free shipping on orders over $75, it's easy to stock up or give them as a gift. Take a deep breath, scrub with something real, and feel the difference. Visit halfbackmountainsoap.com today and bring the mountain into your bathroom. Also, you can use code BURROWS10 and get 10% off of your first order.
But there's still moments whenever, you know, things will derail you just because of life. And it's nice to be able to just talk about it with somebody. So you're kind of like a therapist. You're like a Christian therapist. You talk about, you want to know what's going on, and that's important. And so people who are listening to this that think, oh, I could never lose that much weight or I couldn't do it, you absolutely can. You
Yes, you
absolutely
can.
can. And if you think, well, my body's not molecularly correct, it's not working, my wife will tell you that's not true, that you can do it. It does require some discipline, but you just have to stay at it. It's something you have to keep coming back to it and train yourself, and just it literally has become a part of who I am. Um, Exercise has become very important to me. I like my morning walks. I even do afternoon walks sometimes if it's nice out. I like to walk and clear my mind and pray and I like to listen to David Curtis. I'll get like I went through his Olivet Discourse again. I love that Olivet Discourse was a big one for me. So I went
Mhm.
back through it again, and it's just you find ways to exercise and make it fun. And then also, eating and um, I've learned so many little tips and tricks. Oh, that's one other thing we used to do, and we still do. But like if you suggest something, you might say, I would buy this item from the grocery store, and then you would like look it up. Let's look it up, and we would Google it together, and we'd bring up the
Yes, we bring it
nutritional
up on the
facts.
screen.
Yeah, and we would
Yeah.
talk about the ingredients and what, pardon me, what those ingredients were and why, like chicory, right? Chicory,
Right.
like I was like, what's chicory? I've heard of it. That seems like something old people used to drink, like a chicory drink. And so we looked into it and we looked at all kinds of different things that were, um, in the nutrition information, and you educate. And then you better remember because at the quarter we're going to have a quiz and we're going to talk about it. And so but that's the fun part is learning it and then putting it into practice. So you absolutely can lose this. You can just trust me. If you want to, you can. And it's
I
the
want
hardest part is getting started. It is. That's the hardest part is
it
getting
is.
over the hump and getting started. Once you do and you see some results, you'll stick with it.
It is the hardest part to say I will start. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. Um, and the second hardest part is to understand that this is not about willpower.
Mm-hmm.
This has to do with your lack of education.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because if I set two things on the table and I pushed one towards you and I said, one of these two is poisonous,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you would probably say to me, which one is it?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. They both look exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen them somewhere. You've seen them at the store. You've seen them on the shelf. But one of these two items here, and you've seen them both before, one of them is poisonous and one of them is healthy enough for you to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to opt for the poisonous one? I would think not.
No, no, not at all. Of
And
course not.
but yet we do every day.
Mm-hmm.
And we do every day if we go to certain restaurants. We do
Mm-hmm.
every day if we use certain things in the kitchen. We do
Mm-hmm.
every day if we clean our house with certain cleaners. We
Mm-hmm.
do every day if we trust before knowing what we are putting our trust in.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, this is the whole thing. You do not have to be 100% healthy to need
No.
a coach, to need a coach. You
Mm-mm.
don't have to be 100% sick to need a coach either.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You can be somewhere in the middle. And a
Yeah.
person who says, you know what, things could be better for me than they are. And I would like to try this healthy route. And that's why I got into this in the first place was I saw so many different people in my family. I had at least 8 people died of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And it concerned me. Not all of these were in my direct path, mind you, but a few people were pretty close. And then I also saw a few having problems with diabetes or even borderline diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a nation of diabetic people.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nation of people who are, as they age, getting on more and more and more medication. I
Mm-hmm.
am not against medication. I'm against everybody having it all the time.
Right.
And what I'm saying by that is an actual diet of eating that stuff versus eating the things that would make us feel better inside.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the same principle of this versus this. I can choose my own self, what it's going to look like for me in 5 years. I can
Mm-hmm.
choose for my own self what it's going to look like in 10 years, 20 years.
Right.
I can choose for my children the same.
Mm-hmm.
And you do make a lot of choices for your children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if we continue on the pathway that we're on right now, which I have a lot of hope now because of the things that have come across now as Make America Healthy Again.
Mm-hmm.
And that really means getting back to the farmers, getting back to the things that are coming out of our soil in our country. One of my neighbors just told me that they hired a beekeeper. Um, if you put a beekeeper on your property, you can have ag status. Okay, agricultural status will save you lots and lots of dollars per year.
Mm.
But what if they give you some of that honey that's also grown on your own property? The bees that
Mm-hmm.
are in your own yard, so to speak. These are things that you can do something about. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't know that. They just, rely on what people say, or they read Google.
Mm-hmm.
Google has lots of articles. I read a lot of them.
Yes.
Um, Yahoo, all of those different places have a lot of articles that you can read.
Mm-hmm.
You can be informed, but don't trust all of it.
Right.
Because if you do, you're going to be extremely confused because one of them over here is going to say eggs are terrible for you. And then over
Mm-hmm.
here they're going to say you need at least 2 eggs a morning. So
Yes.
you have to know what you're talking about. And for your family, for your family's menu, you can widen. This is another thing you and I talked about. What about color?
Right.
Color outside when you go out into nature, you notice how many different colors there are. And then
Mhm.
you go to the grocery store and you want brown.
Yeah.
Why do you want just brown food?
Mm-hmm.
There's so
Right.
many beautiful colors in food. And
Yeah.
yet we get on this cycle of brown and white and
Mm-hmm.
yellow, which is corn.
Yeah.
And we get on that cycle and we can't seem to find our way back to eating the things that would actually make us feel better for longer.
Yeah, I remember that. That was one of the first lessons that I was taught by you was to add color to your life. And that was through the foods that we selected, and I thought, never thought of that. Yeah, and you're right, and sometimes you think well, it's a diet. When you say diet, it sounds so terrible. It's really just an eating plan.
Yeah,
It's with
we
some
don't talk
thought
diet
behind it.
here.
That's right. We don't say diet, we say eating plan. And here's something else that I'll tell the listeners too is that I even have liberty to come to you and say, hey, like I was hearing about fasting. Tell me something about that. That may not have been on the lesson plan for that week, but you'll say, "Oh, well, let's talk about that." Or I brought to you one time. I was like, "I know some guys that are like straight up carnivore. And what do you think about that?" And we talked about it, and you were like, "If you want to implement that, we can sort of cater that. That still works for what you're doing here, and so you helped me sort of implement some of the things that I had ideas about, and just tailored it, because and then it was just fun because I was engaged. And then what the magic, or really not magic, but the blessing, let's say, was whenever I started to think outside the box and create my own recipes. That was
Mhm.
new for me. I was like, huh, I could put these two together and I think that it would work. Here's a
Yes.
weird one. I think I told you this. Here's a weird one. So if I'm sticking to like a dirty carnivore style, of eating, I was like, it's cold, it's rainy, it's fall. I really want some chili. I just wanted some chili. And I was like, but I don't want any red meat. I think I'm going to stick with maybe some turkey or some chicken. And then I was like, well, how am I going to? And then I was like, oh, okay, I can use, like cumin and all these other different things and add to get the flavor I want. And I was like, but I've already got the meat, but I don't want to put the beans in. I just don't want all those beans right now because beans make me gassy. And so I don't want the gassiness beans of it. I started thinking about it. And you know what I added? I added mushrooms. I was like, oh, there's something that's kind of meaty to it a little bit. So I added some mushrooms to it. And I was like, what else could I do? And it hit my head. It was the craziest thing. I was like, I'm going to add broccoli. That might sound weird, but I'm going to add broccoli. And what I did was I cut off the florets so that I had just the round parts of the florets. Yeah, I wasted the stems, but whatever. I just had the florets in it. And I had just barely steamed them a little bit. And then I threw them into the pot. And it
Mhm.
was so good. I'd never had chili with broccoli in it, but it
Nope.
was so good. But it was so good, and it took in the flavor. I actually put it in the crock pot and let it slow cook throughout the day. And man, it was so good. And then I was like, I think I'm gonna add a little sour cream. It was almost kind of like a stroganoff by the time I was done with it.
Yeah,
But I
it
added a
does
little bit
sound
of
like it.
yeah, I added a little bit of sour cream to it and a little bit of cheese. And man, it was really, really good. And I was like, that's what I wanted for a nice cold fall day is a nice warm soup, you know. And I just thought of it myself, the things that I was eating. And as simple or as disgusting as that might sound to others, it's actually really good. But that was the fun part was like, ooh, I can add some things. Or like I know I needed to get some oils in it. And I was like, I'm just going to add a little splash of olive oil to my salad here, you know, just a little something. Or olive oil or avocado oil, whatever. And that to me was when I started feeling liberty because I was no longer, I didn't have to buy the Optavias or whatever the plan is that's already pre-made in the box for you, that has all the numbers and stuff. It was more of a, am I hungry? Am I not that hungry? Eating a little bit, knowing what was going to be in it and what was good that was in it, and that I could just,
Right.
I was carefree and able to just make those decisions, and that was wonderful. To not be confused about food anymore is so awesome.
Well, here's another thing.
Hmm.
For years, we have had people like Jenny Craig, Weight
Hmm.
Watchers. Now we have all of these, I call them the box companies.
Yeah.
They send you the food, it's pre-measured, prefixed, blah, blah, blah. And if you want to go that route, you can. Doing what I'm teaching, you can still use that. But
Hmm.
say, for example, you weren't going to, you were just going to set that aside and you weren't going to do that. Use that money to pay me to help you
Hmm.
do the thing you're wanting to do. I will send you to the regular grocery store.
Hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to, I'm not going to have you on a pre-box plan. I'm not going to send you home with Weight Watchers dinners. I'm not going to tell you to count points and do this and do that, weigh everything out. That's the old style of losing weight.
Hmm.
And a lot of people went right back to their old habits the minute they stopped.
Hmm.
The reason being is because they weren't doing all of that stuff
They
anymore.
haven't learned anything,
And they
honestly.
didn't. And they didn't catch on. Now, maybe for a time, maybe for a time it served them in it and they were able to keep the weight off.
Hmm.
But what I want people to learn is a way to live their life, to live
Hmm.
their best life, to
Yeah.
be able to eat food, even dessert,
Hmm.
to even go to a party and choose which appetizers you should choose. You
Hmm.
know, remember when I told you to um, go home, set up the table for a nice evening out
Hmm. That's right.
at
Yep.
your table,
Hmm.
because you are the honored guest.
Hmm.
And
That's
so
right.
this whole thing is about you. It's tailored to you. It's meant for you to be in a situation of enjoying it as we go along. And all my clients are free to say, you know what, I had a really bad day. And they can sit there at the beginning of our session and say, this is what happened to me, and that's what happened to me. And we can talk about the solutions of how we can feel better so that we don't take that heavy emotion over into what we're doing in a positive light.
Hmm.
Just
Right.
get it off your chest,
Hmm.
so to
Yeah.
speak. Get it off your mind and let's move forward. Let's have positive affirmations as to how we're going to go forward. Remember how we also have done some breathing exercises to lower our stress level, to lower our cortisol level, to
Yes.
to help to help start a session in the right frame of mind. We've done those things as well. I don't
Stretching in my desk chair, moving
stretching
my
in your
head
chest.
and my shoulders and breathing
Yes.
exercises and doing things. You would be surprised, not you yourself, because you taught me, but you, the audience, would be surprised to know that breathing exercises and just minor stretches just for a few minutes can really change your outlook on the day. It is wild, but it works. And yeah, I mean, that all I can say is that I'm proof that it works.
Yes.
I'm proof. And if anybody wants to know how it works, then when you ask me, I'm going to say it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of effort to educate yourself. It takes a little bit of money to invest in yourself. And you have to take time out for yourself to make this happen. And you need to find a coach. If you're overweight and you've always battled with your weight and you keep getting confused and you keep losing a little bit and getting it back, you need a coach. Just let me tell you, you need a coach. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it, guys. And if you think to yourself, I can do it myself, but yet you never quite get there, you need a
Yeah.
coach. You need somebody like MarChessa who will sit down with you and work with you on the things that's going on in your mind, get those things translated to the choices that are on your table and the choices that you make, whether you sit or you walk or how much, the things that you do to be active, add color to your life, have some decent breathing exercises, just all those things add up and just make you feel better. And I think that should be what everybody wants to look good in their clothes. Let's just
Yes.
be real. You can say you're vain, fine, go ahead. I want to look attractive for my wife. I want to look nice in my clothes. I I talked to Jordan Grant the other day. Everybody looks at Jordan Grant like, because Jordan he's in great shape. He eats well and he
Yes.
works out. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I want to look jacked like him. But right now, Rick's in a fat burning state. My diet is catered to this. You've already talked about we're going to start changing things, and when we get to that. So what I want to do, MarChessa, is whenever I hit my actual target, I want to bring you back on, and I want to talk about this one more time, like the last however many weeks this was, getting to the target, and then how what that does for the mind, and also what's getting ready to take place. We're not going to give everybody the secrets. I can't do that because not everybody's
Nope.
the same, right? But
Nope.
but I definitely want to bring you back and talk more about it. You have been
Okay.
a huge blessing for me. I love you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
You,
you. Same
yeah,
here.
yeah, and it's been so wonderful. And I appreciate you taking the time out to be with me today. So, guys, if you want to go to Avalon Wellness, if you want, I've been trying to get her. I'm so sorry I keep coughing. It's allergies.
Yes.
Excuse me. Got any tips on what I should do I'm just kidding. Take some
Yes.
honey.
Talk to me afterwards.
Yeah. But I've been trying to get you to call it Body by Marchessa for so long now. But it's Avalon Wellness for now, and of course, my favorite Texas Countess. Do you have your little crown with you?
Oh, I do. I do
Show
have my
us.
crown.
Let's see. There it is, the Texas Countess. I love
Yeah,
it.
the website is avalonwellnessctr.com.
Hmm.
And it'll explain a lot of things. But it also has my phone number, and you can call me directly or text me directly if you feel more comfortable starting out that way.
Hmm.
How I start things off with anyone is I have you come in or see me by Zoom,
Hmm.
whichever way. If you're long distance from me, we can do that as well. Um, I
Yeah,
have
let's say
you.
that. You're in Texas and I'm in North Carolina, and it hasn't affected us at all. It's been great.
No, no,
Hmm.
the distance thing. You're not my only client that I've had long distance, so
Hmm.
that has never been a problem. And lots of different people have done um, the lifestyle change, the weight loss journey with me long distance, and it's never made a difference
Hmm.
as far as you know the space
Right.
between us. There we can make the miles work, but
Yes.
I have a few questions to ask where you are in your health journey and get that down so that I know what point we're starting at, and then we come up with a plan. Um, and it's hand in hand, coach with client, and we just have a wonderful time together. It's a lot of
Hmm.
fun.
Yes. It is a lot of fun. I always look forward to doing it. So, well, thank you for being with me on the podcast
It
again.
was a pleasure. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it meant a lot to me. And guys, go to avalonwellnessctr.com and check out our website. The link is in the show notes for you. And give her a call. She's ready to rock.
That's right.
I
The
hope you
point.
do have room. Do you have room for some more
Oh,
clients?
yes, I do.
Okay.
The Queen of Wellness has always got more room.
All right. All right. Let's fill up her schedule. So, yeah, there it is. All right. Well, thank you, Marchessa. Thanks, everybody. Go check her out. And we'll talk to you guys again next time on the Burrows of Berea. Peace out.
Peace out. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.